Hello, and welcome to Check 1 2. Now, you may be noticing something slightly different about today in a change to your scheduled programming. You're not missing out on the dulcet tones, the central Scotland tones of Paul McCaffery, because he's sitting right here. And we just thought, well, who thought it? Both of us probably. You didn't say it out loud, but I said it out loud.
Yes.
Like, as the guy who is giving the platform to people to tell their stories, like, we've got tidbits of your stories, of your story, but not like the full picture. So it'd be quite nice to just kind of sit down and go through some of your bits.
I'm right into that.
If you're okay with that.
I'm all about you getting into my bits.
And I'll it's like an alley-oop. I'll lay it up and you just dunk it.
You be the Pippin to my Jordan.
I've always wanted to be Pippin. Out of those two people, Pippin is the one that I want to be.
To be fair, it was always one, do you remember, like NBA Jam?
Yeah.
I always wanted to go Pippin when
really?
I played that game, yeah.
He tomahawks it in.
Fireball.
Yeah, rainbow. So this is how you always intro. You go, hello, and then you go, so if you're okay with it, can you just tell your story? I'm
not okay with it, so I'm just going to...
He's out. You're also late, like a true guest. You were actually late for your own guest spot, which is quite nice.
Which was...
To sort of show that it's like the power shift, where I was a wee bit early because I was like, well, I want to make sure that like I'm being a professional host. And you were like, you came rocking in, threw a TV out the window and you were stinking of whiskey and you'd already done 2 big fat rails of coke in the toilet. You were like, I need to go for a pee. It was actually 2 big fat rails of cocaine.
I just had to take those 2 lines. It just gets me set up.
And now we're good to go.
Yeah.
So listen, here's what I know about you.
Yep.
He's an embryonic guy. Not what the other type is called.
Embryonic and...
on the top.
Aye. I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't.
That's okay. It's a safe place. We're learning.
But yeah, so I suppose, like, do you just want me to go from the top or just
go from the top? Let's do it in like 5 minutes because I've got some really deep, good questions.
I'm into
to
this.
Go through.
So, quick way of doing this, and I never really tell this story properly. So, because it's always like that kind of like with snippets.
Yeah.
So, again, no idea that you should be checking for testicular cancer. I didn't know that I should be. So we're out in a stag do in Krakow, Poland, right, from our friend Tony's stag. And I'd been working with the NHS for 18 years at this point, right? But it was mental health, so like anything for here up, I could maybe help with. Anything else physical, unless it was like, you know, sport-related injury, I couldn't really do much. Drunk on the top of this terrace at the end of the night, my friend Donnie says, Chippy, do you know much about like ball stuff? I'm like, name the sport, mate. I'll try my hardest, you know. And he's like, no, I've had this weird pain and I think there's a lump on my, like, one of my balls. And I was like, let me see. So I was like, right, give me a feel. So
how many beers in were you at this point?
You couldn't quantify it in how many beers. It's more bottles of vodka at this point.
Oh, really?
You know, I think we were probably about 8 bottles in. Jeez. Between 7 of us. Okay. You know, because
if my maths is correct, that's at least a bottle each.
Almost, yeah. Plus the extra, the extra bits.
So this wasn't happening like on the plane, on the flight out. This was happening. You were kind of, everyone was loose, and they're exposing their own like
vulnerabilities.
Yeah, it was a safe place, I suppose.
Yeah. And which is always us.
Place,
yeah. And typically us, like, we're all kind of like, there's a great picture where I think it was my 30th, but the kind of time before I got cancer, my wife took a picture and all the boys are downstairs in the house, drunk with their tops off. And that's a kind of standard for us, you know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, I went down and gives a feel. So I was like, I don't know what that is. I would go and get it checked out. Like, it's like, it doesn't feel like it should be there. And that was in November. Was it August? No, yeah, was it August time? Just try to think when the wedding was. Maybe kind of August time. Cut to the December of that year. I was like, wait a minute, I've got a bit of a pain, you know, and was like, well, Donnie was sore, you know, but how do you really check yourself? Had obviously been told growing up bits and pieces that, like, by other people that you should, but I didn't know how to, or that was a thing. Cahonas Scotland website, you know, found it by just typically being me and like looking for anything patriotically Scottish. Yeah. So I was like, Testicular Cancer, Scotland.
What is the most Scottish way to check your balls?
Yeah, what is a Scottish way to check your balls? So it first came up like headbutt somebody, grab a bottle of bucky, and then, you know, have a feel.
Phone Donnie.
Yeah, phone Donnie.
You owe me one.
You owe me one. Yeah. Aye. Cahonas Scotland website came up. I was like, right, okay, this is how you do it. So I followed the steps and found a lump on my left ball. Put it off, going to the doctors, scared, embarrassed, whatever you want to kind of call it. And then it just really kind of started getting sore. And that same month I was sitting at work and I started really feeling quite unwell. I ended up with the flu. Everyone was just swollen and sore. I was like, I'm really going to have to like make that appointment again. And then that was that whirlwind thing of doctor felt it, was unsure, sent me up to urology, I think a week later. Even went in, but the consultant urologist felt it and went, I don't think that's a cancer. It doesn't feel like a cancer. Yeah. But I'll send you for the ultrasound anyway. Obviously, everybody now knows the story of my ultrasound palaver where I dropped my trousers a bit too early. But what I didn't notice, because I was in such hysterics at that, was the seriousness. See, if I think back, the seriousness that came across this wee woman's face of, yeah, we just scanned that testicle and there's definitely something there. And when she said to me, you're going to have to go see the consultant again, there was no red flags or alarm bells going to say there's something wrong. I just thought it was part of the process. Yeah. And he went, and he was, no, that's definitely something. You can see this mass here. And as you'll know, and you've literally said on camera, you don't hear anything other than the word cancer. You don't. You know, I even did the wee Todd finger movement. You know, it's like cancer.
But then, yeah, the shutters go up, don't they?
Yeah. And then it was just thinking, like, what are we doing? Thankfully, Pamela was with me, like, and took in the rest of it. And then it was that quick whirlwind of removal, and then chemo at the Beatson. And I always say to Donnie, you know, what was the big guy in Green Mile again? John Coffeyed his cancer.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah. I took that for you,
so
buddy.
What happened to Donnie? Donnie was fine.
So weirdly, because all that happened to me, and very like you kind of like you start getting really interested and going, me. Yeah, it wasn't until years later I was like, by the way, what happened with your thing? Did you? And he was like, I didn't go get it checked. I was like, what?
It was just a wee joke. A couple of other boys said, I bet you can get Paul to 3 months. Yeah. That's amazing though, actually, isn't it? Like, as an origin story, that was you trying to help somebody else, and then, but I guess sometimes that's what it takes to like then look inwards and be like, well, am I all right? You know, you're so happy, and probably most guys with 8 bottles of vodka between 7 would be like, yeah. What, do you want me to have a look at it? But then to I suppose then turn it around on yourself and be like, oh, maybe I should think about this and do this. And then, yeah, so then your journey, I remember seeing pictures of you when we first met. I think you showed me, it was like a potted kind of presentation of like the results from your, between surgery and just after chemo. It was like a pretty brutal picture of like, it reminds me a wee bit of that, you know, the film that 50 Cent lost loads of weight for and he shaved his head?
Oh, yeah.
Looked like a total different guy. Yeah. And that was like you. Sitting before me was like 50 Cent, and then you showed me that picture and I was like, that's not that guy.
Yeah, that's like a really anorexic Uncle Fester.
Yeah. It's pretty mad. So what was that process like then for you personally? Like going from, I suppose, yeah, just like you're fit, quote unquote, normal guy, to then being laid low by chemo?
I think like it was hard, especially at the time. It was really hard at the time, obviously. But I approached it with me being typically silly as a person. You know, I'm a silly human being. So I tried to just kind of, you know, there was times obviously privately I got panicked and a bit upset and things like that. I think the hardest part was obviously, you know, like me and Pamela talking about it, and then obviously Lachlan was only 4 going on 5 that year that happened. But it was just I had to approach it with a typical silliness. Do you know what I mean? It was ridiculous the way that I kind of compartmentalised it as such.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just it was. I think that was it. You'll know yourself. You start to focus on the treatment and what's coming before you, just so you can knock it through type thing.
Yeah.
And essentially that's what I've done.
Yeah.
You know?
There is an element of that, isn't it? It's, you do the racehorse analogy of like actually getting the blinkers on can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You've got one thing to manage, which is like get from point A to point B as quickly and damage free as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And like, I guess it's the collateral that you only realise maybe later on, which is like relationships, friendships, other things that people really worried about you, stuff at work, which you kind of, it doesn't benefit you at the time to be like, oh, no, I've got this chemo, but I should check in on that work thing. Should check that email thing about that guy that needs that invoice. Like it just doesn't really compute.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man.
But typically as well, though, it's like, see when, because I was working in what was called the IPCU in psychiatry, which is the old-fashioned word would be the locked ward, right? I had worked there for years before, and then got put back just before this all happened. And it's typically like these workplaces where you go off, and then it's all, oh, it's because he doesn't like working here.
Oh, right,
and it was all. I remember, like, because nobody reached out. Even when I was off, nobody reached out. And I remember phoning in and got Jim, who I'd known for years. And I was like, mate, just to let you know, I'm going to be off sick this next month. Just to kind of put that initial line in. He's like, oh, what's wrong with you, son? I heard you've got the flu. I went, I've got cancer, Jim. And you just heard this like silence that you could cut with a knife on the other end of the phone. And he was just like so apologetic and like sorry for me, like, but it's odd when I think that was the thing, telling people made it real. Because the 3 things that I always remember made it really real was telling people that this was a thing.
Yeah.
Going in for the operation, I was okay until I was lying in the bed waiting to get under anaesthetic, and I remember like being really, really vulnerable, and there was all these people. I don't know what it was like for you, because I don't know what the Glasgow hospital was like, but seeing Falkirk, it's a tiny box room. And I just remember going, "You'll look after me, right?" And I just felt tears starting to stream down my face, and then I was out.
They were like, no.
You're like, no, we're cutting you open. We're not looking after you.
We don't even know if we're going to get the right one.
And then just as the chemo, I could see the chemo running down the line, coming to my vein. I'm like, oh shit.
That's all in there now.
Yeah. Aye.
That's one thing we've not really spoken about, is telling people. So who did you tell before the fact? Like before you went for your surgery, Pamela obviously knew. Just
in terms of my surgery,
or the whole journey, right?
The whole journey. So
having cancer.
Yeah. So Pamela, obviously, and that was it. When I got told by the urologist that it was probably cancer, and that was likely that's what I was having to go in for an op. Mum and Dad.
Yeah.
Pamela told her folks, and then the boys. It was like, I mean. I'm really, really lucky to have the group of friends that I have. Like, we're really close. We're brothers more than anything, than friends. And they were the first guys that, it was like Pamela, Mum and Dad, them. So that's how it kind of worked. And
did you consider telling Lachy or no?
It did, but we thought, don't burden him with the ins and outs of that as such. And I knew at some point I was going to lose my hair, because they kind of said that with the chemo. They're like, the chemo's going to take your hair away. So we approached that in a fun way, because he shaved my head for me. So that was just why is Dad bald? Oh, because I did it. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
Yeah. And then that was just that was it.
It's like such a tricky age. The layers of complexity around like what that means to tell a child, Daddy's got cancer. compared to, you know, if he was like 8 or 9, there's maybe a few more frames of reference that he would have.
Yeah.
But at 4 or 5, what do you know? You're looking at that just like that's the.
And I remember like Pamela telling me like when I came out of my op and I was getting moved to the wards because like I'd been in a little bit longer and they were like, right, let's just keep you in overnight for pain relief and stuff. And the lift, when I got taken away and the lift down, Pamela, Lachlan at 4 went to Pamela like, Dad looks scared. And she was kind of like, oh, you know, and but he saw that, but obviously he saw the pain and I was probably just white as a sheet. So, you know, that was his insight into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's heavy, actually, isn't it? Like, when there's a kid in the mix, and you start thinking like, how do you simplify something that's not that simple? How much do you want them to understand? That's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
All right, so telling people, would you do anything differently? Do you think you would, not, if you could go back, would you tell more people? Would you try and be more transparent about it, or would you keep it all completely to yourself?
No, I think I was pretty transparent with it. I think I told everybody that needed to be told and know. I think that even work at the time and that they knew through various other things as well. Because one of my friends, James, who's sadly no longer with us, he kind of started putting it round as well.
Right.
And it worked and all. No, he's not just off because he doesn't like working here. He's ill. But no, I think maybe reaching out personally to other family that were abroad and stuff like that. But no, I think I'm as open book as they get. I'll share anything and tell everybody anything. That typical extrovert.
And then from there, you found your way to Cahonas, tapped Richie up for a job. You thought, Richie, I'm the guy for this.
Yeah.
And then, was that pretty straightforward? Like sort of a timing thing? Richie needed somebody, you were there? Or was it more like after your treatment, you were like, I actually really want to be more involved in this? Because if I can blow up your balloons just for a wee second, you're the guy for, if you think about like Scotland specific, as a patriot, right? But like there's literally there's nobody else who's doing more or has done more to like shine a light on testicular cancer, reach out to people. If you think of the amount of testicles you've touched, you know, like it's actually amazing. So like you would be forgiven for thinking that guy's obviously hunted that out and has made it his like vocation, as his life's work to like do this. But I just wonder if that is the case.
It was at the time as well. It's like, so it was actually over a long period of time as well. So like I was diagnosed in 2015, so I didn't start working with Cahonas until 2023. So when I reached out, you'll know when you go into the Cahonas website, it's changed since, obviously, because they rebranded and stuff, but it always looked like this big professional outfit. And I think you see the word charity and you go, they must have lots of employees and there's lots of people doing stuff, because look at all this content and, you know, the big things that they've, like, I think at that point Richard won an award for was it the media thing with the Herald, that, you know, for baubles, for Check Your Baubles. So all that was out there, and I'm like, so typed in, just to let you know, I used your self-check guide. Thank you for me, my family, thank you for saving my life, right? Unbeknownst to me, Richie was still working full-time at his CVS job. Even though Cahonas was a thing, he was volunteering as like the chair and things like that. So he was working a full-time job. So he's at work and gets this message for a cancer survivor that is thanking him, you know. So when he reached out and let me know, it was just him, and then we started talking more. I'd done a testimonial, much like yourself, done that testimonial, and then we just kept in touch. And then there was one day I was working with it. Was I in ITU at this point? No, I was in the immunisation team. Richie phones me just out of the blue, for a chat. And he's like, "Oh, I have thinking of taking somebody on," because there'd been a couple of times where one of the board members had reached out for me to join as a trustee, and it never kind of really went anywhere. I'd said yes, but it's one of these things that just gets lost in the shuffle when you're only like a one-man show with everybody else just kind of pitching in. So he phones me and he's like, "Yeah, we're getting funding to take somebody on," and I'm like, here it comes, here's the ask. It never came.
I won't do it for less than 150k.
So the ask never came, and I was like, "Oh, right, okay. Maybe he doesn't know that I'd be interested in that." So I phoned him a couple of days later. I was like, "I'd really like, what do you need from somebody? Because I'd really love a shot at this job." And his mind was blown that I wanted it, because I'm working in the NHS. I've been in there for all my working life, and he didn't think I would want to leave it. But it was a case of, no, we'd love that. So interviewed for it, and had the balls to go in.
What was the interview like? Was it? You can get a sense sometimes in an interview where you're like, I think I'll get this, or like, I think I'm not the right guy for this. Did you pretty soon realise that? Because Richie, I don't think Richie's got much of a poker face. I think he'd be sitting down being like,
yeah.
He's the guy.
Yeah, pretty much, it's like, I think like it was him and Duncan, one of the trustees and chair. Duncan's the current chair. You've met Duncan. Who's another TC guy, and it was just like, obviously, what would you do in this role, and what would you bring to Cahonas as an organisation? How would it be working with Richie just one-to-one, and that kind of change? And yeah, I felt confident. So then it was just, when it was done, it's like, and I got offered the role, I think a day or two later. It was like, it was brilliant. So kind of long story to answer your question, it really did feel like it was becoming my vocation. And there was a fear within me and Pamela, though, that I'm going to go back into this, because I was having a lot of kind of anxiety about going back into the beach scene and all that, and talking to, because but actually it became helpful to do it. So I think it became really cathartic for me to then sit and be able to talk about this and my experience. So it became that vocation and that thing I wanted to do.
Because that's really interesting, because one of the things I was interested to speak to you about is like, so I see there's some days where I'm like, I can't be fucked talking about this. But it's not my job. And I don't have to inspire or even just like reach anybody about it if I don't feel like it that day. And you maybe don't have that luxury. So I'm just wondering, like, what do you do if you wake up one day and you're like, because it's so closely attached to it's your personal story. And now it's your job to talk about it. It's like, what do you do on the days? How do you get through a day where you're like, I just don't want to talk about this today?
I talk about you.
Yes, of course.
No, because I've obviously got to lead with my story, and there is days where I'm like, it's not, especially some talks, I'm not nervous to go into talks, but I'm just like, right, I'm going to say this thing about me again. It's like that Forrest Gump thing, and I'm going to talk to this girl again, and I'm a great believer in fake it till you make it. And just paint on the smile, penguins in Madagascar and smile and wave.
Just put the mask on.
I just, typically, and I know that might be bad, but it's the way that I do get through it, because I'm grateful that I have a work ethic that allows me to be able to put that mask on and just go, right.
Rather than just be like, Richie, I can't do this today.
Yeah. I mean, there's times where it can be detrimental as well. I mean, there's times where, like Cahonas Paul doesn't switch off. And I can be out at an event or something, and it's almost like opportunity, and it's like, but you're with your family, like, stop, talking about Cahonas, So there's times where that mask of professionalism can be a burden. But in this last kind of like, I don't know, this last year, I've understood that a little bit better and being able to kind of like drop that guise and just be myself and not be Cahonas Paul. It's just Paul.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I wonder if for anyone who's listening to the podcast who's maybe just found out or is like in the middle of going through their treatment or their journey, it might be a long journey or whatever, to be, you know, like the fine balance of like, if you feel like you can reach people and be like, well, just check your balls, check your balls. If I can give you advice, check your balls every time you get a chance. But to then not be like, quote unquote, the guy that had testicular cancer is like being in control of that story about yourself, if you know what I mean. Because like I find it from time to time where it's like all of a sudden something will happen and be like, oh, I saw something with you on it, or I listened to that, and I'm just having like a nice day, just like, I don't know, out for a pizza or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you're that cancer guy. And you're like, well, yeah, but I'm not. Like, that's just a bit of what has happened in my life.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's advice there you would have for people, just there what you were saying about like Cahonas Paul and Chippy.
Yeah. I think it's just, it's
where's
not...
Chippy from?
Where is he from?
What is Chippy?
Oh, so growing up, my brother was actually called Chippy first. So, and it was because, I'm pretty sure this is the reason for it, that he was called Chipmunk and then it was just Chippy.
Got it.
And then when I joined the Boys Brigade, I was Chippy Junior.
Right.
And it just stuck, and then everybody started calling me Chippy. So then and there was some people who, you know, didn't know my real name was Paul, you know, and there's even some of my friends' parents were like, I didn't know your name was Paul.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, it's like, so it's always just Chippy,
All
you know.
right.
So yeah, that's where that comes from.
Right, sorry, that was just from my own curiosity. I'll write that down later on. So what would you say to someone who's like, well, I'm worried that I'll just be the cancer guy or the testicular cancer guy?
I suppose there's that dichotomy of, do you want that and do you not? Because there'll be a part of you that always wants to kind of, that is you, that you did have that.
Yeah.
You don't have to explore it as much as I have, you know, where I'm literally working in the field that talks about testicular cancer constantly. But I think own it, but set your boundaries on it as well. You know, it's like, talk about it when you want to talk about it. Don't get crabby or upset with people if they bring it up. You know, it's just, you know, swiftly change the subject if you feel uncomfortable with it. But don't let it define you. Don't let... Because and again, it sounds weird because you're coming for a guy who's now working for a testicular cancer charity, but I don't let my cancer define who I am, you know. And it's because there's sometimes like it gets brought, even, you know, 10 years later, my mates will still talk about it or make reference to it, and conversations will go back to my testicular cancer, and I always feel a little bit embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about this again. And I remember saying this, and one of my pals, Tony, went, no, you don't talk about it enough, actually, you know. And I think that's the thing. It's don't assume people think you talk about it too much or too little. Just, if you feel that you need to talk about it. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it, is get out your own headspace of it, and it is what it is, essentially.
Yeah, that's funny. I remember, like, quite recently, actually, was moving a heavy dishwasher through the garage of the house with Shan's uncle. Right. And he said something like, put your balls into it. And then he went, oh, sorry. And then, like, I laughed. Yeah. But then later on, this is to show how overthinking is, like, not makes it worse, but like just makes it more of a thing. He then like sort of pulled me aside later on. He was like, look, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean it. I was like, hey, there's like, it didn't even register. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sort of like didn't even like sort of bounced off me. But like on another day, I'd have dropped that on his toe. Yeah. Called him dropped the C-bomb in his face. No, I mean, like, it's that interesting thing of like, you don't always get to control when it comes out.
Yeah.
When the testicular cancer beast comes out.
Because typically in Scotland, like talking about your balls in a jokey way is just the par. It's just like, you've not got the balls for that, or I've ballsed up, or they go, oh, that's nuts. Do you know what I mean? And you always get a kind of side eye for somebody, like that. I had a thing where it was very recently. So me and my mates started playing pool on a Monday night, and I was going to take a shot, but because I'm short, I had to kind of get my leg up on the table, but like, my remaining ball, which now sits in the middle, it just kind of went thump and went down at the table. But because the second one wasn't there, I had no pressure. So I was able to get a little bit closer, and I was like, oh, this is the advantage of having one ball when I'm playing pool, and then was able to take that shot.
I had a very similar thing at a wedding, like quite shortly after my second diagnosis, where I had like a suit on and really tight trousers, and I was like, there's only one way I can get into this. It's like not having any balls. Just, like, they were so tight.
Yeah.
All right, so Cahonas is kind of taking you, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but because I'm going to say it. Is it like the best thing that's happened from what is an awful diagnosis to like for your life? Would you say it's like the best thing that's happened since? Or the best thing that's happened that's related to that?
Yeah, 100%.
By a country mile.
By a country mile.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And it's taking you like amazing places.
Yeah.
So you were down at number 10 last week, were you?
Not at number 10, just down in London.
Not at number 10?
No, not at number 10.
For Men's Health Week?
No, we never went. They didn't want us. I visited the King and Queen though.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't want to be invaded by that guy. Yeah, you did. You went and visited the King and Queen.
But it definitely has, and I think it definitely is like a huge positive. I think like in terms of a career move, I would never have thought I could do something like this unless I had the lived experience, and I'm always grateful to Richie for that, and taking a chance, because like as a community engagement officer, it's like experience wise, I talk to people on a day to day because I worked in the NHS, but I didn't have any experience of delivering talks and things like that. But
and really quite specific.
Yeah, but I think the opportunities that it's allowed me, and the skills that I've learned, not just in public speaking, but in even like obviously Richie's background's in PR and marketing, so like the amount of stuff I've learned for him and in and around like how you do these things, and like podcasting, it's like it's something I always wanted to do, but then I get the opportunity to do it. So yeah, you definitely can't complain. The positive impact working for Cahonas has had on me.
Who are you scouting for podcast guests for the next series?
There's a few that still, Tom Green would always be great to get on, one of the original podcasters, Lance, if we can, it's Lance Armstrong would always be there.
I'll just be sitting under the table.
Yeah. A golfer called Matthew Southgate. I've spoke to Matthew, but he was going to be on it, but he's had to kind of pull out. So look at that in the new year. But yeah, there's loads of people, and just anybody who's got their story and wants to tell it, especially in Scotland, and they can come here and tell their story. It's a beautiful thing.
And it's like I listen to every episode, and I always, when I start the episode, I'm like, how many times can you tell the same story? But it's not, there's like a common thread that runs through a lot of the stuff, and that's actually what I like about it, because it's like those are the reassuring bits of what you do, which is like, no, you are not the only one who's ever thought this or this or this. Almost everyone has got a similar or come on, you fuck. Almost everyone's got like a similar the feelings of it, even though like the mechanics of it are like, well, no, actually I had this type of chemo or that type of chemo and my surgery was this, and actually they didn't remove, they just took a wee bit off and da-da-da. That's all different, but it's the emotions and the feelings are all, that's where the common thread is.
Yeah, it's all interconnected.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really meaningful to people. It's definitely meaningful to me, but I think other people I know who have listened to the podcast have said like that's the thing that keeps you coming back. And like it's amazing you kind of just like sparked it out of nothing.
Yeah, actually, but not even out of nothing. We sparked it out of like you and I meeting for the first time. I think like that's genuinely where.
Yeah, Richie said that the other day.
Yeah, aye. So that is genuinely where it comes from. So when I know how you had met Jihad and you had conversations with Jihad and things like that, whereas I hadn't met nobody else. So you were my first like fellow TC guy.
You never forget your first.
Never forget your first. So when you and I were talking and just going over like the bits and pieces that we thought were similar, and Richie being like the observer that he is, looked at that and went, why aren't we recording this? You know what I mean? And that's what sparked the idea of, like, I think he'd always wanted to do a podcast or something similar anyway. Yeah. But then he was like, no, like after that conversation, he's like, this makes sense to do. And so that's where it kind of was born from.
You obviously enjoy it. What level of prep do you do for your guests?
It depends. Like, so see for you, I know that we have an element of chemistry where we'll just be able to chat and things will come out, and we're both curious enough that in our podcast, like, you still asked me questions anyway. You know, even though like you were the guest, like you still had things that you wanted to ask. If it's somebody who I've never met before, I'll maybe like look up, you know, like if they've put their story out there, or I'll ask them just directly, you know, what is your story? And I'll try and think of things and questions in and around like wee bits to flip me know. But I try not to get too much, because I want to hear it unfolding and react to, you know, something as well as if it's a famous person, or and not because you're treating them indifferently because they're famous, but you know, you have I found one of the first kind of remote celeb that there is very much a question answer thing, which is different from conversation. So they're so PR trained and interview trained that I had to then really know their story, really just come up with the questions, and then just question answer.
Because they don't want to converse with you because they're used to that format, and they know that, like, well, actually, why would I invest time getting to know this interviewer? Because in 10 minutes there'll be another one.
Yes.
And another one.
Yeah.
So who's the most famous you've done?
I suppose it's subjective to what and who you know. It's like Xander is obviously Scotland international. Jason Kounde, you know, obviously a high profile football player and now pundit. Dr. Emeka, you know, Dr. Michael as well. I think, you know, TikTok wise and social media wise, Michael's pretty well known. Michael Schaefer, comedian. I mean, there's loads. Terence Hartnett as well. So there's loads of good guys that have kind of gave me the time, you know. So but there's still so much more out there, you know.
There's more work to do, mate.
Yeah.
So what is next? Like, what are the big projects for the next like year or so for Cahonas?
I think it's just to try and grow the charity again. You know, we've moved offices, so we're into a bigger office with a space where now we've got the check-in room.
Tell me about the check-in room.
Yeah. So again, something Richie always envisioned having was a space where guys could, you know, if they wanted to meet us, like they're not just coming into an office to meet. So we've got this space within the office that is a closed off room. It's windowed but closed off. Couple of sofas. We've got like all the kind of pictures up on the wall, like kind of like guys like yourself and Bertie and all that, who have kind of been really supportive of you, and you know, and all these wee picture tiles of some of the big events that Cahonas has done over the past kind of 16 years now for Richie. And you guys, so it's comfortable enough that you get to come in, sit, have a coffee, chat, and then kind of go for there. You know, that's really what it's for. It's a location that guys can get to easily. Parking's easy because we stock coffee from. It's just a local dodgy little two-bit rent coffee place called the Good Coffee Cartel.
I've heard of them.
But because we know we've got a good cup of coffee and good cup of tea, you know, you're not having to go into the city centre and meet. You know, you're going to come somewhere comfortable and just hang out. Yeah. That's it really, you know, and that's what it's for.
That's so cool.
And it means when we have meetings that are a little bit more informal as well, there's like just a comfier place to sit.
Yeah.
You know, because again, you've met me and Richie so many times, and different guys, his personal and professional. Like, we're just a couple of kind of normal guys who are just trying to do good work.
Yeah.
You know, so to try and not have things stuffy is always a good thing, you know?
Yeah. Add a couch to any meeting room and it's like the difference in what comes out will be vast, right?
Yeah. I mean, as long as we've not got the camera set up,
yeah,
we're all right.
It'd be like the oddest kind of casting couch sort of thing, wouldn't it be? But like nobody's got any balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a niche in there somewhere.
Oh,
look, if you're ever really up against it for funding,
listen, OnlyFans.
Get Richie on OnlyFans. Only feet for Richie, probably. So what's like that journey actually feels like a longer time. When you said 2023, I was like, no. But this was post-COVID.
Yeah, maybe 2022. I can't remember. What year are we in? I've been three years, so 3 years.
Yeah,
so 2022. Yeah.
Still doesn't feel like a long time. Like it feels like you've done a lot in a short space of time.
Yeah.
And then you said you'd like learned loads of lessons and stuff. So like, what do you think is like the most unexpected thing, the most unexpected lesson that you've learned? Either you can do it either from your own personal journey through testicular cancer or from like working with Cahonas.
I think in terms of working with Cahonas, it's all the different parts, so like how to promote, how to speak, you know, and I was always a good talker, you know, I could talk the hind legs off a donkey, but to be able to go up with like a script as such and deliver something and still make an impact. And I think I've definitely learned how to judge the audience pretty well, you know, so even though I do schools, every year group at every school, when they come in and sit down, I've got a gauge of how this needs to be delivered, what humour needs to be added in, what kind of bits do they need to be shocked at or whatever. Yeah. And then you extrapolate that up to businesses and sports clubs, and especially sports clubs. When you're going in, and I think I've learned that, you know, everybody's human. So when you're going in to see these, like, when you're going into Glasgow Warriors and you're looking at all these guys that you've watched in the telly for years, or, you know, going into Spartans or Celtic, or, you know, it doesn't matter where they are in the leagues. You know, you've got these guys that you kind of, people watch every week, but that intimidation's gone now, you know. So I've learned that, you just have to go and do your thing. They're there to listen. Yeah. So, yeah.
And it's so relevant, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very difficult to get away from, if you're speaking to a male football team or like a male class of like S3 males, like it's so relevant. So they might give it the bravado or, you know, have a wee laugh and stuff, but guaranteed they're all going home that night and checking their balls. Yeah. Which is like, so you're delivering on that at least that one point is getting delivered, but then walking the balance between entertain, like make it good so that it's not just like how long are they, an hour? No,
I'll try to kind of cut it. If it's going to go long, 45 minutes is the longest I'm going to make it.
45 minutes.
Yeah, and that's where a lot I added in, like that's more for businesses and things like that. Schools, I'll try and get in and out in half an hour. Yeah, you know, because you're dealing with 16, 17, 18-year-olds who their attention span for external talker is going to be like, they're going to be bored or whatever. So it's trying to figure out a dynamic where I do something that makes them laugh or shocks them, and then there's a wee kind of educational bit, and then it's snap back into something else. Yeah. So
because then you can't also like go away from it, and then the teachers are maybe saying that he was quite funny, but like, what did he actually say? Like, you've got to deliver on both fronts, and that's the art of it as well, I suppose. Yeah. I always like to go in and say, you know, it's the only time you're going to get a 40-year-old man coming in to tell you about him touching his balls without getting asked to leave and be 100 feet from the school for the next. Everyone's okay with it.
But yeah.
So you do schools up and down the country, right? So you go as far north as, do you go to the wee islands?
Yeah, we'd love to go to the wee islands. I mean, we always say like we're a Clydebank based charity, but we are a national charity. I mean, I've been up as far as Dingwall and delivered talks. I've been down to the borders, you know, east and west coast. we'll go anywhere. Have car, we'll travel, you know.
Yeah.
To definitely get up into the islands, you know, is something that we really hope for, because it's the islands in the northeast, they're always forgotten about. And you hear that a few people for there. It's like, once you get past the Central Belt, you know, health care and or these types of things, because nobody wants to travel.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, so if we can get into the Highlands and Islands, I'm up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get your own wee private plane.
Yeah.
Just the wee island hop.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good, man.
You know, even if, you know, it's like, you know, even if you've got guys who've got businesses who are able to kind of like sponsor us a van or donate like something where we can really travel to these places and do more than just a talk and do a road show.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of thing that is the dream for us, you know, is to be able to kind of put that into action and take Cahonas on the road in a sense that, you know, like if we did need to do the islands, you're able to do 3 in 3 days, you know. That
you
type
make
of
it
thing.
a whole thing.
Yeah.
Where there's this kind of horrible corporate speak, but like there's a package.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a social media package around it where you've got, you know, off the top of my head, a lovely big blue van with Cahonas on the side.
Yeah, and on the top.
Yeah, that opens out.
Yeah.
And then you've got your merch, you've got your information, and you've got you. And you wheel up to, you know, imagine a lovely drone shot through Glencoe, some Scottish music. Beautiful. And then, but so it makes it more attractive, doesn't it, for a charity? You're saying, well, there's a bit of a spend on it, but also the return is we're getting this bit of marketing, that bit of marketing, this bit of social media, and we're reaching, I don't know,
everybody.
What is there, 12 schools up there or something?
Yeah, I know, but it's like you're still reaching everywhere where nobody else wants to go. I think that's the thing, you know, and that's part of growing the charity, you know. So say if we can get somebody in my role that's based in Aberdeen, you know, and is able to do that a little bit easier and quicker than I can, great. You know, but as long as we can influence education from everywhere in Scotland, that's what we're hoping for, you know.
And that's across not just schools but also businesses,
sports clubs, yeah. If we can do that
anywhere, amazing.
Yeah,
right, man. I'm gonna have to rate this. I've run out. My questions are done. Now we're just gonna freestyle. How long have we got, Cammy?
So it's running on 48 minutes just now. So
how much do you?
Like, depends on how long you want to go with this. Booking's up until past. It's 22 minutes past just now.
Okay, right. We've got a hot 8 minutes.
Yeah. Let's do it.
What do we discuss? Right, this is where I was deeply nervous actually when I came in today.
Were you?
Because I was like, I was fine this morning. Like, I've been fine because I was like, it'll be great. We'll just chat and it'll be da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, but you should actually do a wee bit of preparation. So did some preparation, and then in the car on the way here, I got deeply nervous. I was like, actually, you're underprepared, and you don't really. This is a difficult seat to sit in, I think.
Yeah.
Even though you're giving me all the goods. You're doing all the hard work. But actually, this is difficult.
Weirdly, I been on this side of it now. Like, I've done a couple of podcasts, and it's only, I think, 2 now, really. You know, but this is so much easier. Like, see for me today, knowing that you were going to be doing the questions and asking, and actually, like, even when we first sat down, I realised that I do what every guest I hate them doing, and I started swinging.
Well, I'm doing it just now. They're nice swingy chairs.
Yeah, but it's like because usually I'd be sitting there like still and kind of stoic, whereas today I feel a little bit more loosey goosey, and it's like I think when you have that, I need to hit these marks. That is going to be a lot more difficult. But it's such a. I know this sounds really twee, but see, for me, when I'm sitting there, I'm in such a privileged position to be able to talk to guys and hear their story and get people to open up. You know, it's like we've had some guys who have maybe never spoke openly. I've had some guys who have maybe never spoke to another person about it, and they discuss really intimate details, and at the end of it, they don't want any of it cut. They just want it to go out there, which is incredible. And I know this sounds like I'm blowing smoke up my own bum, but it's like, I know that I've got that ability, and I think it's one thing that I take from my old job is to be able to allow somebody to kind of be calm. But you have that same ability. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel nice and relaxed.
Do you feel nice and relaxed?
Yeah. So
that's what Louis Theroux would say. How's your energy level?
Yeah,
is it okay?
It's pretty good.
Good. We can do a bit more. Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because I wondered how much of your background in mental health has helped or did help during your journey, but then also in the aftermath, and like 5, 10, 15 years, it's all unknown territory. Like, so you never know when something's going to crop up and be like, oh, that's because of that thing now, is because of that thing then.
Yeah.
So like, I wonder how much of what you knew from your previous job in mental health applies now. I
think it's a bit like anything. It's there's loads that because I worked as a nursing assistant, which means that I was an untrained member of staff, and a lot of my day to day was just interacting with people on face value type thing. Would be helping like with getting dinners organised and getting just make sure that the ward ran kind of smoothly while the staff nurses did the hard work and put together all the kind of care plans and and done all that. But I was inquisitive enough that I learned a lot for the people I worked with who were like staff nurses, and being in it over the years, I understood how to make somebody feel comfortable. And there's times where in my job I was able to like say that you had a patient who was really quite unwell, and they were thinking about like, we might need to sedate this patient. There's times where I've been able to go in and go, give me 5 minutes. I promise you, 5 minutes, and they'll be fine. Yeah. And that's worked out for me because I've been able to gauge that. And I think much the same within this. It helps,
Yeah. Well, that's the human connection bit of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can sort of resonate with someone on the same frequency, and
yeah, it's like, oh, it's okay.
It's the gift.
It's going to be all right.
That's the gift.
But definitely, I feel good today. Like.
And then when's this coming out? Do we talk about the Christmas single? Do you want to talk about the Christmas single, or is it just going to be too late?
Yeah, I think no, I think this one will come out after. This will come out in the new year.
Right, okay.
But,
Well, so what was it like having been part of the Christmas #1 then, Paul? Tell us all about it.
Oh, it was great. What an adventure it was. If I think, and I'll quite happily like say this like on it and keep it in, is that the song has done great so far, and I'm just glad for everybody who bought it. If it reached any kind of significant number, after this, we've recorded this, I'm just grateful to everybody who was involved in it, and grateful to Ouija Hinky That for choosing Cahonas to do that single with. I think it was such a great idea anyway, and because we had Check Your Baubles, and it's just a great thing.
And it's a banger as well.
It's a good wee song.
Importantly, the product is good, Paul.
Yeah. And hopefully people enjoy the kind of video that's getting made, today, for us, it'll have already been out, and it'll look good, and again, I thank you for hosting us at the Cartel and allowing us to use the space.
Don't thank me yet. This is meta. Then you go like, well, what's going to happen now? And then in January we'll reflect on it, and then this will come out in January, and we'll have to say.
And then we'll just cut it. I was thankful. So but other than that, I think.
I guess that's the cool thing. Sorry to interrupt you. No. That's a bad hosting thing to do, but that's the cool thing about your job, is that it's got limitless potential for fun stuff, even though it's on like a super serious subject matter. Like there can't be many other jobs where it's like, we're going to go and meet the sausage guy and do like charity sausages, and we're going to shoot a music video. Like, what jobs are you doing like such a varied? Then I'm going to go and meet I don't know, St Mirren Football Club, and then I've got a couple of schools to visit, and then I'm going to do this other project, and like it's just amazing that the wide variety of stuff that you can get involved with. And
I say that all the time. Like I'm lucky because I'm a geek, right? So all the stuff that I kind of want to kind of get into, like I just have to reach out to those people. So when we got into Football Manager, that was me like reaching out to the like random people on LinkedIn and eventually getting Cahonas Scotland on Football Manager. Do you know what I mean? Like, how cool is that? But like you say, you know, getting to go into these football clubs and these rugby clubs, ice hockey. I mean, I'm a huge wrestling nerd. So see when ICW wrestling were like, yeah, let's come in, and I'm standing there talking to, you know, Jack Jester or Lee Gregg, however you want to know him. But I was just in awe of it all, and I am so lucky in the pursuits that we can do to go like, yeah, let's do charity sausages, let's do a charity coffee, let's do a charity this, and the fact that it works, and that's testament though to Richie's attention to detail and how he wants the charity to go, but he knows that there needs to be a looseness to it. That's the thing with Richie. He's not stuffy in that way. He wants Cahonas to present in a certain way, but there's so much flexibility within what we can do. So to do something silly like a comedy single is awesome, you know. So we're really lucky.
Yeah, and the sausages that I picked up, we eat those sausages all the time. Yeah, those chicken sausages, and but I just picked them up, muscle memory. Sausages, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's the boys. Like, amazing. yeah, it's a smart projects, isn't it? And that's like how you in a world where like there's charities for everything, how do you differentiate without doing down the other ones? Like, you know, it's not about that, but it's just about like raising this charity up to have like be in the eye line of certain people, and how do you it's an art to do that well, and like I guess it comes down to, I don't know, branding choices, project choices, all this stuff. So it's fascinating. I'm fascinated by it, man. Yeah,
and I think for us, like, see, to be able to kind of have that, like those choices to be able to branch out and go into that, but I think out with the mission of Cahonas and out with like what we're trying to do in terms of education and awareness and now support, the one word I would hope that people would see when they interact with Cahonas is personable. I think because that's all me and Richie try to be, and I think there's an element of that really works well, and I think Richie's probably more introverted and I'm more extroverted when we meet people, but us as a team, I think, really works well in that regard, because Richie can pull everything back in and I can maybe do this, but Richie sells Cahonas like nobody else. And I think that personal flavour and that, you know, being personable really helps us when we meet people like yourself or Jamie Keeble or, do you know what I mean? Like Thomas Cairns for ICW, we were able to kind of sell us in a way that people go, yeah, okay, we'll give this a shot.
Do you find that that's a benefit of that thing that you said earlier on, where you were like, Cahonas looks like a big charity, but in reality it's just two nice guys working in Clydebank. Yeah. And like, is that where that's actually your secret weapon? Because when you sit with people and they're meeting the entire charity and then they see what else you're doing, and they're like, flipping heck, if it's just these two guys and they can do all this, like, imagine what can happen if we invest a bit, or no, it's not investment, it's donation. Sorry.
Yeah, but still though.
Let's the more that we can help, it just what we're trying to say is it just seems to have like, it's almost like that's your wee secret weapon. Yeah, I mean it's kind of a double-edged sword, because there's times where people can maybe look at you and do what I done if you're a business and look and go, big charity, look at what they're doing, like all these things, they don't need our money, you know. And you're like trying to go, no, it's just us, you know. Whereas like we go into some of these places and they are blown away when you go, and they go, oh, so do you want us to talk to your marketing person? And it's like, well, it's me and Richie. And they're like, what? How are you here and doing this and doing that? You know, and it's like, what, you've got this auction going on, you've got a charity ball, you know, and so it can work both ways. People are impressed. Yeah. But also sometimes people are like, oh no, like they don't want to look into it further because they think you're bigger than you are as well. They want the wee indie charity.
Yeah, which we are a wee indie charity. We just look like a corporate one. So aye.
Yeah, love it, man. That's so good. Well, listen, I hope this wasn't too weird for you.
It wasn't.
Thanks very much for coming in.
Yeah.
Hope everybody enjoyed it. I think it's nice. It's nice to, what would the kids say, give you your flowers a wee bit, because obviously as someone who, we've just spoken about it, like you do so much for this community, to like actually get a chance to kind of give you a wee round of applause and kind of say thanks on behalf of everybody else within the community. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're just a top guy.
Oh, thanks,
love you
brother.
so much.
Oh, I love you, man. I love you.
I think that probably. I'll just leave it, and then I'll just leave a really awkward silence at the end of that, and then we just stare into each other's eyes.
Fade to black.
Yeah.